All right, so this is a shift, a breakthrough that I've been waiting 20 years to figure out. Just came to me now. And just quick disclaimer, I just got back from a speaking engagement in Atlanta and I'm sick from traveling. But I didn't even want to make any videos, but I have to document this. So imagine your identity controls everything. You can have a high quality piece of information. I've been meditating 1 to 2 hours a day, and listen to what I'm going to say. And if you don't listen, then it's not for you. Your identity controls everything. When I heard things like that, because I didn't understand what that meant, I've heard that stuff a bunch of times, I just push it off. That's not for me. When the student's ready, the teacher will appear. You can take the same piece of information and put it in front of 100 different people, and depending on the lens in which they look at it through, you're going to get 100 different responses. Do you want me to go in the studio? Okay. My wife's right here. She's hot. Anyways, I was like, I want to do this video right in front of you. All right. Take a person who, excuse me, even better. Take a person who is in a scarcity victim mindset, who's just making ends meet. Or maybe they got their own little small business and they're just struggling. And now put them next to a person who has a multiple 6 or 7 figure business. They're a seasoned entrepreneur. They know marketing, they know production, they know administration, they know how to facilitate. They understand how business works, and they've made a lot of money, and they've been through processes and workflows, and they live in an opportunity abundant mindset, right? A different identity. Now, give them a piece of information about maybe a great business idea that's relevant, it'll work. The person who is stuck in the victim scarcity mindset might intellectually be very intelligent and awake and understand. They're conscious, they're here and now. They'll understand all the information coming in and they'll get excited. They'll be like, yes, oh my God, that's a genius idea. See how I'm looking up? That's a genius idea. Oh my God, I could actually do that. They could get excited, they could start forming plans in their head, and it's great. And as soon as they feel like they're going to reach up and start doing it, and they might actually take some action and get a little bit of progress. But what's going to happen is, because of where their identity is, take a pendulum swinging like a grandfather clock, right? Their identity is here. Then the self-limiting beliefs that are controlling from behind the scenes, pulling the puppet behind the strings, the deep subconscious negative programming from growing up broke, around broke parents, people crying about money, whatever it is, guilt, what are people going to think, whatever it is going to pull them down like kryptonite and make them feel like it's so hard. And then maybe they're approaching it with just a technician mindset, that they don't have the integrated relationship entrepreneur mindset of how to approach it as a facilitator. They're approaching it as try hard technician work, dig with the shovel. So they might make a little progress, but their identity is going to pull them back like this, like an anchor, and they won't be able to actually just do it. And even if they make some progress, they might quickly get burned out, and the pendulum will just swing back to where the identity rests and is holding them, and they'll give up. It's too hard. How the hell I can't do it. I thought I could do it. I was excited, and they don't understand why, because the identity is controlling them behind the scenes. Now, same piece of information to the multiple 6 and 7 figure entrepreneur whose identity lens is in a different spot. Just different relativity is gonna, when they hear the information about the good idea, they might already be, you won't even have to finish telling them all the information. All they need is the inspiration, and they're already setting plans of action. They already see the end result, and they're already extrapolating other people that it can help that the original information didn't even imply. Because they're thinking not linear, but they're thinking geometric, because they're spiritually in the quantum, which is not bound by space and time. It's not stuck in linear units of measurement. It's geometric, right? It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's like 1 + 1 = 18 type shit, or 25. So what I mean is their identity lens is up here. So when they hear an idea, it swings up to their identity. They already see it already done, and they're like, oh my God, this is a great idea. This needs to be done yesterday. And what sector or fashion or sector of our business, we already have tools. We can get this done, and it's already done, and they're already done. Listen to what I'm saying. With it, to the point where it might even be an underqualified idea. Like, is that going to make us 20,000 in the first 30 days? Like, they're qualifying it. Like, can we fit this in? Because this is a good idea. How is this good? Like, how could I say this, man? Their identity lens of qualifying opportunity is they're operating from the end result. As soon as they hear about it, they already see what the result looked like. That's the next thing I was going to say. Now I want you to fast forward in identities past the identity that I'm talking about to an even higher identity, and higher beyond that to where ideas like that, you're like, oh, that was 15 years ago. I remember when we used to do that. That was Pookie in the Sandbox type shit. Yeah. That led us all the way up to this. So it's so far down. It's such an easy task, and they say, what would this look like if it were easy? That it's like way down there. Oh yeah, I remember we had that idea. That's when we were thinking small. Now the victim mindset, that little tiny thing, is like, oh my God, it's this little mountain, this little molehill is a big fucking mountain, and they can't do it. But the only difference in all that is the identity. Now the victim's gonna say, well, of course, they've got money in the bank, and they've got connections, and they've got all these things. Fuck that. They do have that, but why? Here's why. Because people who have identities that are aligned with spirit, you can say God's law, consciousness. I'm not talking about fleshy, living in sin bullshit, living in shame, guilt and fear and anxiety, which triggers negative belief and negative belief systems, which pushes opportunity and pushes positive people away from you. I'm talking about when you get rid of negative shit in your life and you cut anchors and you align with God and the Holy Spirit, and then you develop high beliefs and high expectations, and you develop conviction and confidence, and you become convicted in your beliefs and what is right, and you know it, and you're doing it no matter what. You're going to start attracting people to you. People, places, tools, technology, systems, information. You'll repel away negativity and start attracting the right people, places, and opportunities to you because you're convicted. I've seen this happen in my own life. As soon as I got convicted about my landscaping business, the clients started showing up. The right employees, employees are really hard, but employees started showing up. When I got convicted about my videos and online business, you can hear it in my voice right now. People believed it, because conviction is something you can't fake unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath, right? We were learning about that last night in some videos, that's crazy, right? You have to have discernment. But when you become convicted, that's the one powerful piece that you have within your control of influence that you're not seeing. So the people that are in the abundant lens operate from a place of conviction and discernment, and they cut right to the truth. The people that are in the scarcity victim lens, where the pendulum is swinging way down here, like no matter how much you try to pull the pendulum and get them to believe, it swings right back to where the identity resides. They're stuck in a negative low scarcity and attracting other people like that, but those belief patterns, because water seeks its own level. But a rising tide raises all boats. And what controls the tide? Well, it's the moon, but let's say that's the identity. So if you move the identity up and you do the inner work inside, loving, forgiving, letting go, aligning with God, then when you raise the identity, right, the pendulum will swing up here to a higher or more, or just, it's not right or wrong or good or bad, it's just relative to the experience of that you're having and others are having of you. And that's all it is. And that's the good news. Why is that good news? Because you can alter and change it. So when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. Look, I'm sick right now. See, I felt my vibration go down. When I declare that I'm sick, I start coughing, but when I get high energy, the sickness suppresses because the spirit takes over, because you have gross, subtle, and causal. Causal is spirit. At the level of causality, when you go upstream and you solve the fucking problem from upstream or from the root, not from the leaves of the tree, but to the roots of the tree. If you're putting poison in the roots, because you got roots and fruits, and you put poison in the roots of the tree, the leaves and the fruit's gonna be all poisoned and fucked up and have spots all over it. But when you get to the root of the problem, right? What's the root of the problem? It could be addiction, it could be demonic, it could be negative beliefs, it could be traumas, it could be your own bullshit, it could be anything, right? But you get to the root of the problem, and what do you do when you got pain and you go to the dentist and you got a wisdom tooth sticking out and you're screaming in pain? He goes and he extracts it, sews it up. You go home sore, what? A few days later, oh, you feel so much better because the problem was extracted. So you got to give up to go up. So the first thing to do to level up your identity is start giving up and letting go of all the shit that no longer serves you. Stuff that used to. If you study, there's something called in your consciousness called a stable datum. It's a set of beliefs that create an identity that in a storm can blow over palm trees and they'll bend. Imagine there's a storm and you're holding on to a palm tree. It's a hurricane. Everything's blown away. You're so traumatized. The storm's been done for 2 years and you're still holding on to that thing. And people are like, what are you doing? Let go. You're like, are you kidding me? I can't. I'm going to die if I let go. No, you're not. There's no more storm. But you've built a belief system that even though you're suffering, at least you can survive in those beliefs and suffering. Because the fear of the unknown is worse than just suffering in something you know you can survive, because at least you know you can survive. Stepping into the fear of the unknown might mean certain death. The ego doesn't know how to control it or handle it, so it avoids it and rejects it. But what if you can, I always call it monkey bars in the fog. If you can reach up into, through meditation and through prayer, aligning, asking the Holy Spirit for guidance, as repenting, right? Then you can maybe just get a moment or get around people who have different lenses and look and see. It feels uncomfortable, right? Breathe into different identities and say, whoa, oh, that feels uncomfortable. Then you keep asking why? And here's how I want to close this. Why does it feel uncomfortable when all of your life's hopes and dreams and wishes and the highest level of contribution that you can give back and do God's work in humanity and be the best family person and the best to yourself with the best health and get good sleep and live in abundance and success and be able to be a great contributor, so when you die one day and you go to the golden gates, all you hear is, well done, thou good and faithful servant. How do you do all that? Why would you resist that? Why would you resist that? Why would you resist that? Why would I resist that? That's a great question. So you start asking higher and higher and higher questions, and higher levels, higher devils. The devil doesn't want you to ask those questions, because then you'll see that all through all his bullshit and all those lies is actual freedom, where the world's a better place and people are getting saved. It's all a fucking illusion. It's a big smoke screen. So, it's identity. Here's what I wanted to say, that I wanted to close it with this. As soon as you start to make progress in these areas, you got this. You get a notification and you look at it. When you check into social media, I do this, I have this problem myself. You check into the world. When you check into the world, you check out of strategy. You're in strategy, you check into the world, you check out of strategy, and then more time is going by. So it's going to take higher levels of self-discipline. And I don't say self-discipline as in a forceful way. It might take force at first. If you read Dr. David R. Hawkins' Power versus Force, there's things that are powerful. Imagine you can just speak and touch with your finger. And like Jesus said, with the faith of a mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, move, and it will move. Like Moses parted the Red Sea. That's like faith that they're talking about. And if you study all this and you do deep levels of meditation and prayer, you will learn that all of this comes back to faith. Because the definition of faith in things unseen, but faith is really action. What? What do you mean faith is a verb? Here's why. Because faith is putting one foot in front of the other, walking into the unknown. Having faith and courage, which means the ability the definition of courage is your belief in your own ability to figure things out, right? You're towing the line and holding yourself accountable, saying, I will make this work step by step and I'll figure it out because my heart's in the right place. I'm in the right place with God. This is good for me, good for the other people around me, and good for the entire world. I'm going to keep moving no matter what because I'm a principle-centered man. When you walk like that, that's how you can start to open up these lenses that I'm talking about, because now there's thoughts, concepts, precepts, then there's methods, then there's principles, then there's doctrines, then there's maxims. You have all these different levels of truth into what we call exclusive equity, which is the articulations, non-religious articulations of Christ. And I don't even know what I'm talking about here, but I'm learning this. So when you can see and take your hat off and bow before the one and only Lord of Lords, King of Kings, and see how he saw, that's how you can see through a higher lens, because he gave that gift to us to see through a higher lens. Why would we not want to do that? Why would we not want to do that? Oh, therein lies the question. So letting go of the old lens, you got to give up to go up, to vibrate into the new lens. Or you don't have to vibrate. If you were just you will see through the lens. You go to the eye doctor and they're switching the lens in front of you and you're seeing things through different lenses. What if you just switch the lens? Or clean off, the prism is cloudy. The prism is clouded. Clean the lens so you can see. Imagine if there's white light and you see through a prism and you can see the entire spectrum. And now I once was blind, but now I see. Now you can see. Because you're seeing through the maxims of equity, the eyes of equity. You have equity eyes. Oh my God! I'm sick right now, so I think part of being sick is I'm like not thinking how I'm normally thinking, and I like how I'm thinking. Honey, I love you. My wife's got. I came home and I got her sick too. She's used to this crap. Do you love me? Mm-hmm. She goes, mm-hmm, with her whole heart. Okay, I gotta go hang out with my wife. I'm so excited right now.